Tanishka, this interview is getting really boring. That is the difference that body language can bring in. Tell me something about yourself.
Oh my god, that question. They expect you to talk, but that is the point where you suddenly forget everything that you know.
I agree to this.
Changing jobs come with their highs and lows. But one thing is for certain, it's always good to have a plan. And who better to ask about all that and more than an expert? Today we have with us Rucchi Hirrani, career coach here at upGrad, to tackle all your questions and mine. Hi Rucchi, it's so lovely to have you here today with us.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me here.
Let's just cut to the chase. Switching jobs, right? It's such a stressful ordeal for, I think, everyone at whatever stage of their career they're at. And already, that starts with making your resume and sending it out. And there's so many people applying for that one job role, right? It's a rat race. And I'm sure that everyone knows that interviews come with a certain etiquette. You need to carry yourself a certain way. There's certain guidelines that you should generally follow as a hygiene. So how about we go over those before we get into anything else?
It is definitely a rat race. So if anyone is getting through and going in that interview room, he or she should remember that they need to prepare. In fact, a lot of time my learners tell me that interview is a candid conversation, that we don't need to prepare and it just comes with the flow. It depends on the questions and a lot of other things, but I will stop them there. It is not at all a candid conversation. In fact, a lot of psychology goes behind what you are answering, how you are answering, and the way you are answering. So etiquette, yes, definitely we need to work on it. Starting with the first thing, on how you look in an interview, like the way you carry yourself. If it's an online and offline, still I will highly recommend you to look at your best self. Because if that's covered, the way you feel good about yourself, that will bring in confidence, that will help you in your mind feel good about yourself, and that reflects in how you answer. So always carry yourself great, wear good clothes, wear the colors that make you feel great about yourself, and that's the first thing I would like to. It's a basic, but it's very important to feel good about yourself while preparing for an interview. Now let's do our homework. The first question that can be asked in any round, technical, non-technical, HR, salary negotiation. Tell me something about yourself.
Oh my god, that question. They expect you to talk, but that is the point where you suddenly forget everything that you know about yourself.
I agree to this. And in fact, yesterday I was talking to my learner. We were having a mock interview and I asked her the same question. We are connected since last 6 months, and yet she ended up giving me an answer which was 7.5 minutes long, and she was all over the places. So when you are answering, tell me something about yourself, you need to understand that the person wants to know why you are the right fit for this role, and not that what you've been doing and what are your hobbies and passion. No, you need to give a very crisp 3.5 minute to 4 minute answer, yet briefly speaking that why you are the right fit and what skills you bring to the table when you are looking forward for this role. So that's what one needs to prepare. If you are not good with making up an answer on the spot, write it down. Practice it over and over again. Optimize those answers as per the job role, and then go with prepared with that answer.
I think another thing that comes with interviews is that you should research your interviewer. And when I read that online, I thought, doesn't that come across as a bit creepy?
It sounds a little weird and absurd when you hear about it, but I will highly recommend doing that. So let me tell you, this digital marketing learner of mine, he was quite nervous, for preparing, for in fact giving an interview, had never given an interview before that. What I asked him to, go about and learn about your interviewer through LinkedIn. And the moment he did that, after the interview, he gave me a call and he said that, the person who took my interview was an NMIMS jury when I actually did my MBA. And he was suddenly having that, a connecting factor of that person in his head. I'm not saying that you need to discuss about NMIMS with the person. No, that is absolutely a no-no, because even if you find things common between you, it's not a point of discussion in an interview because that's not relevant. But in your head, suddenly the unknown zone, the entire territory of that unknownness has moved to something that you know about a person. Researching a person, yes, it's important, though it sounds creepy. But not only that, let me tell you 2 more things that you need to research. The JD. When you're applying for a role, most of the questions are around the role. You you should know what you're signing up for. You should know what is the role expecting you to do. And if it is technical, know your technical well. If you're applying for an SEO manager, or maybe you're applying for product manager role or a data analyst role, know what's your technical know-how. Know what you're supposed to contribute. Also, not only that, it will also give you an understanding of where you will stand in your head in terms of your salary negotiation. If you know your role better, if you know what is expected from you, that will again give you a confidence. That is important. Third and the last important thing is know the organization better. A lot of time in technical rounds, there is simulation. There are case study guesstimates around the role, okay? So if you are a product guy and you are having an interview for a product of this organization, I would generally ask you a question that, we are launching a product which suits our organization. If you know my company better, you will be able to answer because you're like, I know. You are into this space, you are into this products, this is what your, past history has been. The same goes with digital. If I want my, an employee to help me with my reach, and if I'm telling you, you will be able to give me additional thoughts compared to the other interviewees, which will help me understand that, oh, she stands out. And that is why researching an organization while you are appearing for an interview will give you a competitive edge.
Speaking of being on the hot seat in front of an interviewer, it is a well-known fact that the interviewer is going to try and put pressure on you. So how does a person who's on the receiving end of the pressure deal with it? Is there something they can do to prepare for the pressure, or is there something they can do when they're in that situation? So how would that look like?
I would like to ask you, do you agree that there are set of fears and insecurity for the person who is giving the interview, the interviewee?
Absolutely. I mean, even before the interview, it's basically a lot of overthinking until you're there.
True. So you agree?
Yes.
What if I told you that the similar fears and insecurities are at the interviewer end as well? Would you agree to that?
I mean, when you're being interviewed, it doesn't feel like that because they are so cool, calm, collected.
But think about this, okay? As an interviewer, my set of fears and insecurities would be, what if I am selecting a wrong candidate? What if this candidate I choose is not fitting the bill or as per the team requirement? What if the person leaves the job, in a year or so? Our all investment will go in waste, not in terms of money, but time and energy. So as an interviewer, the person also has a set of fears and insecurity with what he is asking you. So there is a lot of time that the interviewer would want to understand that whether I am going to choose this person, he's going to fit in or not. I think you also know business development has a lot of closing and bringing in sales pressure. When it comes to project, product, processes management, it is more about deadlines. If you talk about digital marketers, it's all more about dealing with big revenues. In fact, digits also, we have a lot of budget for ad campaigns and everything, and you can't just risk it crores in some kind of person who's not able to handle that stress. So this is not a kind of thing that you should be afraid of, but in fact you should take this as an opportunity, as an advantage, and it is your responsibility as an interviewee to understand where that source of fear is coming from, or the pressure is coming from, or the insecurity is coming from. Is it because my resume doesn't show my skill sets or my strength, or is it what the job is required? That moment to calm yourself, if you are not able to come up with answers, if you're feeling a lot of pressure in your head, and if you're feeling sweaty, take a moment. Take a sip of water if need be. Tell the person, can I just buy a second? Have the gulp down pressure and answer. But when you speak with a lot of confidence and alignment to your thoughts and your skill set. And that is where you win the interviewer's heart, because the person now knows and believes in you that he didn't succumb to the pressure. He actually overcome the pressure and he came with a reasonable answer to the question that was asked to him, which means that he would be or might be the right fit to perform the job he's expected to do for a longer run. And that, I think, is a way you can also understand where the interviewer is coming from.
That also sounds like something that can help you calm your nerves in exchange.
True.
Right. I think a lot of us just forget to breathe, perhaps to just take that moment and to collect ourselves. It probably just takes a couple of seconds.
Yes.
I picked on a quick little word that you mentioned, sweaty. Nervousness, I think a dead giveaway of nervousness would be how we conduct ourselves. And I think even outside of nervousness, in an interview, the way you conduct yourself makes a lot of difference. I think that is giving out a lot of information about who you are as a person, what your mindset is, what your approach is in that moment. Body language.
Body language. Absolutely.
Language. How would you say a person's conduct should be. How much of a role does body language play, and how does one tackle that if that is something that they struggle with?
You know, Tanishka, this interview is getting really boring. That is the difference that body language can bring in. You know, it is said, it's research, that 55% the communication is through the non-verbal cues or the verbal cues. The kind of expression I'm giving, the kind of body language, the hand gesture. If I'm saying, yes, I don't want it, and yes, I want it, I'm covering the space around me. I'm giving you a subconscious yes or an openness to receive. Okay, and that is what matters when it comes to body language. Try to invest yourself with the conversational format and not just a question answer format. So now if I'm tilted towards you and I'm asking you, I'm giving you a nod, I'm maintaining the eye contact, I'm adding smile to this conversation, automatically you will subconsciously feel connected to me. You will feel that I am invested in the conversation and I'm interested in the conversation, and that is what is happening with the interview as well. Thanks to pandemic, a lot of interview rounds have gone on Google Meets or Meets or online. Basically, they turn off the camera. I will recommend, even if the interviewer is telling you to turn off the camera, you turn on the camera, because at least the interviewer will be able to see you through your eye, and that will reflect your confidence. Non-verbal cues, the way you are speaking, the hand gestures, the smile, the eye contact, and powerful verbs.
Powerful verbs.
So we use this generally, we use power verbs in our resume, but while speaking also, if I articulate my thoughts by saying that, I contributed to the 10% of the transition ratio of my team last time, and it really brought in a lot of difference to the entire coaching team. I am using a power word of contribution. I am using a power word of verb, that is my actual doing, in a very strong manner, which does not only reflect what I did, but it also reflects that what my contribution mattered as a whole. And that is what you can use while you are communicating as well.
Circling back to the initial follow-up that I had, we spoke about the body language that an interviewee can have. But as an interviewee, are there any insights I can gain on the interviewer or how they are reacting to my given interview based on their body language?
Absolutely, Tanishka. That's a brilliant question, and I think you will automatically understand if the interviewer is suddenly looking off the screen or maybe looking down, and you realize that maybe he is fumbling with the phone, or maybe he's just distracted to something else. If an interviewer suppose suddenly sit back, this shows that psychologically he's taking back from that conversation. He is not interested, or maybe he's sitting back throughout the conversation, he's relaxing and he's conversing with you, but all of a sudden, oh really, what does that mean? And now he is invested in you. That is where you've already captured his attention. You've got that kind of span of his time where you need to make that impression. That is the chance where you pick up and give him the information he wants to hear, so that you can position yourself in his mind properly, that yes, you are the right fit for this role.
Following up on this once again, first of all, I would like to confirm whether this is true or not. This is also used as a pressure technique, right, where an interviewer might look a little disinterested to put you on the spot.
Right.
In that case, how does an interviewee bring their attention back? I think that is a very important point.
Definitely, it might be a test to kind of understand whether you are able to still continue the conversation with this kind of subconscious reaction, or maybe the kind of cues that I'm giving through my body language. But you also need to understand if that is happening, it's which round. If it's technical round and you are going on fumbling with answers which is not relevant, you pause and you kind of take that second out so that he gets your attention, that why did he suddenly pause? I know he was just talking so much, and why did he pause? And then ask, is there something else you would like to know? And that is how you immediately now have captured his attention, because he was just like, okay, he's talking on and on and on, let him go. And then, oh, maybe I'll create that pressure on him that I'm not interested, I'm looking here and there. You're creating a pressure, and as an interviewer, you're not able to understand whether this is a non-verbal cue or what he's kind of not interested in. You're too much in your head, as well as answering, as well as in your head. So you are at two spots, and I don't think it's a good place to be in two spots. So you pause and you take that second out for him to get back to you, have an eye contact, and then ask him, is there something else you would like to know? Or maybe, I hope that is what you would want to hear, or I hope that answers your question. If there is something else I can add to, please, I would like to know from you.
So you bring in a point where they have to engage with you.
Yes, because you are pausing.
Right.
You are in a flow. you know that you started having doubts, which might hamper your conversation, which might hamper your confidence, then stop at that moment. And it's okay, it's absolutely fine to pause. Who told that in an interview you can't just breathe also, you just have to go on and on? No. In fact, there are a lot of times that people recommend have a glass of water next to you, so that at a moment where you are fumbling or you are stuck or you're not able to get any answer, have a sip of water by asking that, can I just take a moment to have a sip of water? That will give you the momentum to breathe, relax, capture your thought, gather your thoughts where you're, all over place, and then restart your conversation with a proper note. And that can be easily done while capturing his attention as well. And it's a possibility that the interviewer is a very experienced person and you might not get, and he might just say, no, whatever you're saying, just continue. And that is where you end the question by saying that is from my end, what else? So that means that he was not invested in your answer. You cut the answer short and you just go to the next question, and that is the moment he has to interact with you, because he is the person now in charge. The ball is in his court. He has to answer, and that is how you regain the conversation back.
Just like how it's extremely important to start your interview well, it's also very important to conclude it strongly, right? I mean, our interviews start with the dreaded question of tell me about yourself, which is an answer that is very important. It always ends with, oh, do you have any questions for us?
Yes.
And most of us tend to, again, just like tell me about yourself, blank out.
Yes.
Or maybe not ask a strong enough question.
Yes.
And it's also very important to capitalize on that, because it's creating it is your opportunity to create a lasting impression.
Yes.
So how do you tackle the question of, do you have any questions for us?
It is the moment when it also speaks about your candidature, or maybe how serious you are for this particular role. So you remember we started with researching about the role and organization and JD. Yes. When it comes to this part, the conclusion part, a lot of time my learners have experienced and told me that they straight away say, no questions at all. That means you are fearful of, asking questions, or you're taken aback by sudden authority on you that, you can ask me question, and you are taken aback, which is not a very good way to end your conversation with. I will recommend instead, you remember you have all the understanding about the role, organization and the interview while you have researched. Be very genuine in asking questions.
So we have been in conversation about how to tackle an interview. Let's just say that our viewers have watched our video and they have absolutely nailed their interview. They have received a call saying that the job offer is ready for them. But of course, with accepting that job offer comes the talk of salary, and with the talk of salary comes salary negotiation, which is another thing that I think is tough to navigate, especially since a lot of us, when we hear the offer, if it matches our expectations, we settle.
True.
But from what we understand and from what we have learned, it is important to negotiate.
Yes.
So how does one, again, especially a first timer, navigate a salary negotiation?
I think not the entire interview, but salary negotiation definitely scares the hell out of a lot of people, and they fear to speak what they want. Maybe in their head they know they deserve better, but because they are not aligned with the thought, they are not able to speak the the kind of numbers they are looking forward to. But one thing I will highly recommend is if the interview rounds are going very smoothly, do not pitch a number till you reach that call where they are actually calling you to discuss digits. Okay, so there is a high possibility that usually the companies don't have this number discussion before the final call, but if it is happening, try to dodge the answer. Try to give dodge the question by saying that it's too early to discuss the number. Let me first understand my roles, my contribution, or what is expected from me, and maybe then I will be able to give a number better. Or maybe I would like to just hold for another round of interview to give a number, or maybe I'm not allowed to give a number at this point, maybe because of my current company rules. Or you can just dodge the question by giving a answer that is not it's just all over places, but a sensible answer that can actually buy the point. Move to that last round And that is where you know that it's an assured job for you. They are looking forward to hire you. That means somewhere you have an upper hand in negotiation. Earlier, if you just quote a figure, and even if there is a slightest doubt in your candidature or maybe the way you're answering, they will straight away take it back, because in their head they know that, okay, the answers are also not good, the number is also too high, we don't want to even check on this person any further, let's give a no, I'm sorry, you are rejected. But what if you're giving great answers and they don't know the number, they are in the curiosity zone, and then you move to the last round where that you fit the entire jigsaw puzzle well, and that is where you can have an upper hand, which is what you have to earn. That's a first rule. Secondly, when it comes to number, I believe a lot of time people just accept what the HR is kind of giving. Exactly. There is always a window at the organization hand. If you are a good candidate, if you can bring in a lot of value, there is always a window. You can always go ahead and negotiate. But you know what, Tanishka? I have a better idea. Why don't I actually do a salary negotiation and show it to you? What do you feel? Is that a better idea?
Oh my god, that actually would be so cool, because we have someone for you.
Oh, that would be interesting, because it's getting too conversational with you. I think I would like to talk to somebody and actually do salary negotiation for you guys, and so you know how to do it when you are actually getting a job.
So it's been a year, I am on 9 only. Okay, so you're saying 6 months you were at 7.5 and for a year you're at 9 and you're expecting 14.
Yeah, because I had that
you wish to get retired too quick, or how is it? I mean, are your retirement plans way too early, like in the age of 35?
So basically what I feel is I'm lagging a lot in terms of what I should be getting. So I think that compared to the market standard, my compensation is pretty low. And what
everybody
I know,
feels so, including me.